Hello and welcome to today's episode in which I show you how to make that Middle Eastern staple, hummus. It occurred to me the other night that after 4.5-ish years of doing a channel, I have never shown you how to make hummus, which is a sin. It's a very quick and easy thing to throw together, so I thought it'd be worth doing. And then I'm going to show you a couple variation kind of things. So I'm going to have one that'll just be plain hummus. The second, I'm going to mix in some pureed roast beetroot, so it'll be a lovely vivid pink colour. The third one, I'm going to top with fried onions and carrots, and there'll be lots of heavy spicing in there, some tamarind paste. So just to give you a couple of ideas of what else you can do. I'm going to do the carrots and onions first, just because then they can be cooked and ready to go kind of thing. Once the carrots and onions are cooked / cooking, I can then start talking about the hummus itself. But it's literally takes 5 minutes to make hummus. I'm heating up some extra virgin olive oil in my pan. There's maybe a teaspoon, something like that. And I've diced off a small red onion and one largish carrot. So chuck the veg in. I should have fried off my spices in the oil first. I've got maybe a ½ teaspoon or so of caraway seeds. You can use any kind of spices you like in here. And a ½ teaspoon of coriander seeds. And I'm just going to fry these off until softened. I'm going to do a pinch of salt, ¼ teaspoon if that, and a pinch of black pepper. I've had this on 6. I think I might drop that to 4 and put the lid on, because that's going to trap the steam in so it'll cook a bit faster. So I'll just keep coming back and stirring it every now and then. For anyone who's never come across hummus before, it's basically a chickpea puree, I guess, with lots of tasty things in there. And it's just a really nice dip. I guess you could make it with any kind of bean, but it's the chickpeas flavour and texture that makes it as distinctive as it is. Chickpeas have got a certain flavour and that adds really nicely to the dip. If you've only got cannellini beans in the cupboard, feel free to try it with that. Not done it myself, can't speak on how well it'll work. I've seen a few videos on social media of how to make hummus, and the one thing they never have is tahini paste. And in my view, you can't have hummus without tahini, really. It won't taste the same. Tahini is essentially like peanut butter, but made with sesame seeds instead of peanuts. I was going to hold it up to the camera and tip it, but that's inviting disaster, so I'm not going to do that. On its own, it's not pleasant, for me at least. It's quite bitter, a bit earthy, but then in combination with chickpeas, olive oil, lemon juice, and a bit of salt and pepper, it's just a marriage in heaven. It's delicious. And this is what gives hummus that very distinctive flavour. You should be able to find this in most supermarkets, I'd imagine. I mean, if you live out in the sticks in a very kind of rural part of your country, you might not find it. But if that's the case, look on eBay, Amazon, any online retailer will sell it. It's a very, common thing to have. Or especially in the UK, I think I bought this one from an Indian supermarket. I think I might have even seen it in a Chinese supermarket before. So it's a great excuse to go into your kind of ethnic supermarkets. So carrots and onions are nearly done. Everything's nicely softened. The flavour of the spices is coming out. I'm just going to add a final ingredient, which is tamarind paste. It's a very tangy flavour, slightly fruity, maybe. I'm going to start with like a tablespoon, I think. I've turned the heat up. I'm going to turn the heat off. So I'm going to cover it with a lid. Keep the moisture locked in. The next thing I'm going to do is just blend down the beetroot that I've roasted off. This is my roast beetroot. I did it in the air fryer. You ideally want fresh beetroot rather than the pickled stuff like that comes in a vacuum sealed pack, just because that's going to be very vinegary. All I did for these was take off the outer peel. I did think about leaving the peel on and then kind of scraping the skin off, but I thought that might be difficult. So I decided to just peel them in the end and then section them down into 8 or 10 wedges. Put them in the air fryer basket. I lined the basket with paper just to make cleanup easier. Sprinkled over about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. Sprinkled on salt, pepper, and dried thyme, and then put it in the air fryer. I did 165 degrees C, which is going to be around 340-ish Fahrenheit. And I did 27 minutes at 165, stirring every 7 minutes or so. And then I did a final 10 minutes at 145. You can go higher, but just stir it a bit more often because otherwise they'll burn. I'm going to use my stick blender to get that down to a puree. I'm not sure how liquid this is going to be once I've pureed it, so I might then put it in the microwave, similar to how I did the fruit butter for the Christmas cake, for people who hate Christmas cake. Really thick, concentrated puree. So I might do the same, make a beetroot. With beetroot, it's going to stain everything bright pink. So if you've got a job interview or anything the following day, wear rubber gloves. I'm going to cover the bowl in cling film just because I don't want pink going everywhere. All right, and then I'm just going to blitz this down. I'm making the hummus in the food processor because I prefer a little bit of a rougher texture on the hummus, like slightly chunky. I know some people like it really, really smooth. I just prefer a bit more texture. I'll do it in the food processor, and if it needs it, I'll then go in with the stick blender in a few spots to get it very smooth in places and then rougher in the other, and then mix it all together. And that's kind of a preference thing. If you like it really, really smooth, just do it all in the blender, you know, with the stick blender. The beetroot, I think, is thick enough that I don't need to worry about reducing it any further. Put the beetroot to the side, out of my way for a minute, because now we're going to work on the hummus itself. So I'm going to make up a big batch of it, and then I'll split that down into 3. I've drained off 2 cans of chickpeas, and I've drained them but not rinsed them. So I've left some of the kind of liquid on the outside. Thinking about it, I should have reserved some of the liquid to loosen things up a bit, but I can always splash in a bit extra oil, water, that kind of thing. When you make it, drain it over something, and then if things are looking a bit dry, a bit too thick, then just splash in small amounts of the aquafaba, as it's called. Just the water that's in the chickpea can. You can also use that to make other things. I'll link to a couple of other recipes where I've used aquafaba as an ingredient. You can make fat-free pasta chips with it. It makes things go shatteringly crisp. I've done granola with it. I've made chocolate mousse because it whips up like an egg white. So there's all kinds of different things you can do with it. If there isn't a playlist already, I'll put one together and then link to that in the video description. All right, so I'm going to tumble the chickpeas in. I'm going to start with like 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You want extra virgin olive oil. Go with the good stuff for things like this. I'm adding a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm going to do a little bit of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon or so. I'm going to start with 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then I can increase that. So that's the tahini. So like peanut butter, it will separate the natural peanut butter. Try and get to the bottom of the pot because you'll see there's big clumps of it. So you want to try and work all of that into it. It's all right if it's still lumpy because it's going in the food processor. I'll start with 6 and then turn it on. I'm going to scrape the sides down, and then I'm going to start adding lemon juice. I'm not sure, probably need 2, but I think I'll do 1 at a time. I'll use my little device because it will stop pips going in. Lid back on. So I'm going to do more lemon, and then I think I might do 1 or 2 more spoonfuls of tahini. The lemon juice, it's going to kind of depend on the size of your lemons as well. So this is the texture. It's very thick, so I will add a little bit of water, I think. I'm going to do a little bit more salt and pepper, I think. So I'll switch it on, and then I'll add the water while it's running. We've got hummus. So this one is going to be my beetroot one. So there's the roast beetroot puree. I'll start with half, I think. So I'm going to use a fork and work that in. Give that a try. Yeah, I'm going to do all of it. Lob that in. Beetroot's got a lovely natural sweetness to it, and roasting really brings out that sweetness. But then there's also a nice kind of earthiness to it. Our trio of tempting hummus is complete and ready to be tried. So this one is the kind of classic, I guess. We're topped with olive oil, toasted pine nuts, and a bit of parsley. The one topped with spiced onions and carrots. And then there we've got the beetroot one. Topped this one with a couple of wedges that I saved of the roasted beetroot, and also some shaved raw beetroot, and then some chopped mint. We'll go a classic one first. It's got that classic kind of hummusy flavour. It's a bit tangy, a bit earthy, just feels really good for you. And it's just very cheap ingredients, so a very, very cheap little snack. And I've got the tamarind, onions and carrots. Feel free to mix the veggies into it if you want. I just decided to have it as a topping rather than mixed in, mostly for the sake of the thumbnail, just so it looks pretty. Yeah, the carrots and onions are naturally sweet, and then once you cook them, it brings the sugars out even more. So it balances out really nicely against the tanginess, and there's that bit of tamarind adding a slightly different kind of tanginess. And then I keep getting little pops of the spices. And then the pink one. It reminds me a little bit of borscht. It's sweet, but then nice and earthy with some savoury back notes. First time I've made it with beetroot, won't be the last. And that bit of mint on the top just adds a little something. If you wanted to do a flavoured one like the beetroot, you could puree down some sun-dried tomatoes or like roast peppers. Roast peppers are certainly going to be wetter, so you might need to put it in the microwave to concentrate it down a bit. I'll link to that Christmas cake video so you can see the process of how I did the fruit butter. Feel free to mix herbs into it. I've made zachog a couple of times, which is Again, Middle Eastern, it's a puree of herbs, garlic, lemon, that kind of thing, some jalapenos. So you could get a spoonful of that or a couple spoonfuls probably in a wider, shallower dish. Blob the spoonfuls on top and then create a swirl, like drag your spoon through it so it'll pull the puree into the hummus, almost like a raspberry ripple kind of effect. We could do that sort of thing. The main purpose of this video is just showing you how to make hummus, and then I thought, well, if I'm doing that, I might as well give a couple of other ideas of variations, because once you've got the basic recipe down, you can just then start playing around, trying all different kinds of things with it. Ooh, you could do roast garlic. Cut a full garlic in half, pour on some olive oil and a bit of salt and pepper, and then either air fry it or bake it in the oven. And then it goes really soft and really sweet and creamy. So you could mash that down and mix that into the hummus. That'll be delicious. I'm gonna clean down, spend 15 minutes in the sun, and then move on to making a curry for my aunt and uncle for dinner. So I'm just gonna say hello and a great big thank you to my community over on Patreon. Patreon's an online platform that allows viewers to kind of connect with and support creators, like content creators like myself, musicians, artists, all that kind of thing. It's a nice way for fans to support their favourite creators of whatever type of content. And it's kind of emotional and community support, but also the all-important financial support. Because let's be honest, things ain't cheap at the moment. I'll link to my Patreon down in the description for you. There are different tiers, so choose whatever feels affordable for you. If you're on the lookout for lots more plant-based recipes, whether it's dunking dips or full-blown dinners, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you tap the bell icon, you'll get an alert as soon as I publish a new video. While you're waiting for the next one, have a look at this.